It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late at night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said
no evidentiary value?
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi Dad, I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday if we don't have decent clothes? Mom!
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday and wonderful weekend. I'm sure most of you guys know I released a video yesterday kind of revealing some of the answers that I've been kind of teasing about for a while. There's still a lot more that has to be held behind the scenes until the appropriate time, but I would say a good portion of what we were talking about. Yes, it is part of it. Yeah, I know it looks the same. The only other thing is I've got to change out one thing. The mic, the new mic that Juju sent me, or I bought, it's super heavy. So I have to get an extra attachment because it compared to this mic, yeah. So it's kind of like half setup new, but yeah. But it is part of the new setup. In short, not to make it too complicated. Anyway, but thank you. And thank you to Juju for sending that out. So anyway, back to what I was saying. We revealed that video. If you haven't seen it, we'll play some of it today and go over it because I'm sure a lot of people have many questions. Some of those we could answer. And then seems like as I'm always preparing for a live show, I'm always going over the footage. Always trying to look at different sections of the footage, right? Because there's so much that we have that's going on. And anyway, since we kind of now know, for those that have been watching the videos, how I've kind of figured out, you know, if they're at the church or the cemetery via this light. I don't know if it's like a street light or a lamp that's out there. I kind of know where it's at, and I'll show you guys here a little bit. But anyway, long story short, now figuring that out kind of now tells me I just basically look at this light, and if it gets blocked at any point during, you know, the footage that I'm looking at, if it gets, you know, blocked for a point, that means that something passed it. And anyways, while I was doing that, I discovered a vehicle that I have not seen before. And this vehicle is very, very, very important. It kind of really glues the 25th and 26th together as far as the activity we see. And for anybody maybe newer to the channel, we'll kind of recap first before I kind of jump right into it. But to me, like I said, I think this is probably one of the biggest discoveries since discovering the footage itself, you know, like the lights and the columbarium being lit up. I would say this is probably at the top, in my opinion, and you'll see why here in just a bit. So, as always, thank you to my wonderful mods, Sassy, Pocahontas, D, Jocelyn. Make sure I get everyone here for all the amazing work these ladies do, and I know Jennifer's probably behind the scenes working. But thank you to all my wonderful mods that take care of me. And quickly, let's see here. So what I'm going to do, just in case if you haven't seen the the video I put out yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and play part of it. This is just kind of a intro to what I discovered and the case as in a whole. Just kind of a quick 3-4 minute recap. So I'm going to let that play for a second. I'm going to just kind of make sure everything's running smooth real quick here.
Night before, 15-year-old autistic teen, Sebastian Rogers, suspiciously disappeared. Approximately 500 yards away, just beyond the construction site, a bright light was captured on surveillance. This light was coming from a small historic cemetery just beyond the construction site, but this discovery was only the beginning. I would find so much more suspicious activity going at this cemetery, including multiple vehicles seen driving around the same night. But this didn't only happen the night before Rogers went missing. This same suspicious activity was spotted again the next night, the same night Sebastian Rogers disappeared. This sparked us to conduct our control tests to figure out what was this light, where it was coming from, and how it connected to Rogers' disappearance. And what we found will absolutely shock you.
Come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
You gotta love Silvers. I love his energy. Quickly, shout out to Seahawk for becoming a member and supporting this channel. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, which seems an appropriate handle for this time. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. God bless you. And Little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for the continued membership. Means the world to me. Patty says, thank you, Chris, and the crew behind the scenes. Exactly. Well said. Because again, it is a lot of people, not just me. Of course, Silver's on the scene, and then there's some people that kind of prefer to stay anonymous that were also out there helping. And that's something that I didn't get to really talk about in the video that I released yesterday, and that's something I kind of wanted to touch on as well, give you guys a little more insight. And then Merry Christmas says, Chris, firstly, thank you for you, and secondly, have you gained any contact with Deception Detective? I have not. I've put that on hold for right now. I know he wants me to DM him through Twitter. I was hoping to just be able to speak to him via, email. But yeah, in good time. There's bigger things, trying to get all this stuff to the appropriate authorities and into the right hands, right? And then, of course, as we find more footage, then I have to package this up. And this is one where, to me, and I'll show you here in just a little bit, to me, why this one is so big that after I get off my live, I'm going to have to make a video and get it to the right hands so they can send that over to our contacts as well. So yeah. And then thank you to Pammy Bear. I don't know why when I pull up, usually it pulls up everybody's super chats. I don't know. Oh, now it shows up. That's weird. And thank you, Pammy Bear, for the $20 super chat. That is super generous of you. God bless you. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. All right, so I'm gonna play just a little bit more. This is just for anybody that's not familiar with Sebastian Rogers' case. It's just a quick, just second part of the recap here.
Sebastian Rogers was last physically seen on camera leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother Katie Proudfoot on Feb 25th. Whether he actually made it home that night is highly debated, but what I have recently discovered on surveillance from a nearby camera in Rogers' neighborhood could hold the answers to what may have happened to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers' home is located here. The surveillance camera that captured the suspicious activity is located approximately here, with two cameras pointed towards the east, overlooking the construction site and further. The suspicious activity seen on these cameras took place here at this cemetery and also school. Just after this suspicious light illuminates for approximately 6 minutes, a little before 3:30 a.m., at 3:32, a headlight of a vehicle can be seen moving south in the cemetery. This would not be the only vehicle seen that night. Another vehicle is seen at 3:45, and just 4 minutes later, another headlight is seen at 3:49. Although there is 2 cameras that overlook the entrance to the church and cemetery, as of now, there is no sign of these vehicles seen, entering or exiting the only main entrance to the south. On the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared, the suspicious light can be seen again at around 3:40 a.m. It is illuminated for around 6 minutes, just like on the 25th. Then after it's done being illuminated, minutes later, multiple vehicles can be seen, driving in the cemetery and at the school. Once again, more suspicious activity the night Rogers went missing. So what is the object that is being illuminated for around 6 minutes on the 25th and 26th, and how could it be connected to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance? Here is a daytime shot from the surveillance camera where you can see the construction site. It is also overlaid with the nighttime shot of the suspicious light source. You can see how the suspicious light is just beyond the construction site in the cemetery. As Silver's on the scene, drives through the cemetery, you can see that the construction site is to his left. As he continues north, he is now in the middle of the cemetery, approaching a loop. As he turns right, you will notice what they call lumbry. This object is made out of highly reflective material, like concrete, granite, and marble. This memorial also sits at a slight tilt when viewing from the east, just like the object seen in the surveillance footage. Notice both objects are rectangular in shape. As you can see here, this memorial has no artificial lighting, not in the front or the back, so whatever caused this to be illuminated at 3 a.m. on the 25th and 26th had to have come from another light source, but what? The obvious answer would be headlights from a vehicle, but what we discovered about this answer would prove to be quite disturbing and shocking.
Okay, it's coming up here in just a second, this new discovery, so if you can, hit that like button, kind of hoping wait to show this as people roll in, and thank you to everybody that's coming in again to take your time out of your Sunday afternoon, night, morning, wherever it's at, to watch this. Again, in my opinion, this is probably one of the biggest discoveries in my opinion, and you'll see why here in a little bit. So
seen here is another daytime shot.
I'll let this explain itself here, and then I'll show what I've discovered, and we'll kind of put it together here.
Overlaid with nighttime, where you can see the memorial to the right, and in the yellow box is where we see headlights from a vehicle. But what's interesting is the fact that the vehicle seen at 3:45 a.m. has its headlights facing west on a part of the road that goes north and south. Also, this vehicle appears to be in the middle of the loop on the west end of the cemetery in this location.
And it is this location. I've seen multiple shots. It's something that I was thinking about putting in the video, but I didn't want to make it too long. But there's an area, and we see it later on in when Stephen Crabtree and them went out there last year, literally on Christmas, which was so weird when we watched that on Christmas Eve a couple of days ago. But there's this window where there's a bunch of trees, and then there's this window where there's no trees, and that would be literally right in the middle of the loop, and that would be where we expect to see the cars. It all lines up.
Shown here is the exact location the headlights were seen. Notice how the road isn't very wide.
As a matter of fact, this area, I think this is it right here. Where there's kind of I'd have to guess 20-foot window between tree and tree, where there's a group of them, on either side that, continue on. But yeah.
I also figured out that the headlights captured at 3:45 and 3:49 a.m. are at 2 different heights seen here. Notice when putting a static line in same spot, one light is higher up than the other one, meaning there were at least 2 different vehicles driving around the cemetery on the night before Sebastian Rogers disappeared on the 25th. So what were they doing, and how did the memorial site light up?
Okay, so this is this it? Oh, yes, this is. Okay, I think I showed this first. So you guys, most of you guys know, this is what I was talking about, how I figured this out maybe a week, maybe at 2, where how I could tell whether they're either at the cemetery or school, because there's a couple of lights, and these 3 lights here, and I'll show you when Silvers is in the cemetery at night. There's one shot where he's in the cemetery. You can actually see these lights, and they group up just about the same way. But this particular light is at the cemetery at a certain distance. So that means if a car goes past this and it blocks this light, that means it's in the cemetery. But if a car goes by and does not block that, that means it's at the school, if that makes sense. And I show an overlay or an overhead view, and I've kind of explained
I was able to figure out which vehicle was at the cemetery and which vehicle.
Because you're going to see here that this vehicle with, it's got a lot of white light headlights to it is going to block it right here.
Was at the school. I did this by noticing that one vehicle blocks a street light near the cemetery shown here, meaning it's closer at the cemetery.
And so that all lines up perfectly. We see it, at 351 here, and then clearly that's kind of more in the cemetery. This is kind of like if we were to look at an overhead view, just anybody that's kind of wondering where we're at, that's the neighborhood, Sebastian's neighborhood. We got the construction zone, and then we have our surveillance that's coming from up here that's looking this way, 2 different cameras. And there's an area, because we're kind of looking like this, and so there's a bunch of lights. There's a light here, some bleacher lights, and light here. But there's a light, technically, I guess it's not at the school, but there's a light right here on this building. So obviously, if a car goes past here, because this road gets high up, as you can see, the elevation to it, and especially when Silvers is driving through it, all these trees are kind of blocking it. But if it goes through, it's going to block this light. But if a car is driving through here, it will block these lights, but it won't block this one. Basically is what I'm saying.
Notice that the vehicle at the cemetery has white headlights, while the vehicle at the school has more reddish.
And so here, and I know I've shown this again, but this will be important to what I discovered today. At 347 and 349, notice we see kind of red amberish lights of a vehicle. It blocks the one light, but it's not going to block this light, meaning
amber lights, and does not block the street light at cemetery shown here, meaning it is further away, at school parking lot, most likely near the stadium. It's also possible that this was 2 vehicles moving Sebastian from one vehicle to another to transport him somewhere else. Then just after they allegedly moved Rogers to the cemetery, we see that not only is there a vehicle at the cemetery leaving, but we also see a vehicle entering and exiting the school, literally 2 minutes apart from each other. I believe this car at the school could have been scouting and been looking out for anyone walking around the stadium or school, while the
And this whole scout thing, this is why, in my opinion, this is probably one of the biggest discoveries. Is, remember I said this is kind of like probably the glue to everything that I discovered earlier today. I'm going to show here in a second. Is this whole scouting thing, is, in my opinion, just my opinion, is 100% confirmed. And you'll see why. Now remember, everything I'm showing you here at this point is on the 26th, the night he went missing. There's activity at the school and cemetery. The only thing we haven't found on the 25th, the night before he went missing, is we see activity at the cemetery, but not at the school. Well, that's about to change.
The other parties and vehicle are seen at the cemetery, eventually leaving parallel to each other.
I have my
Before I share any more information and final
I have my
series, I just want to mention that different law enforcement agencies and the church themselves have been notified about these suspicious lights and activities and what happened at this cemetery. So please...
How did I skip this forward? Okay. I don't know how that got cut in. That was supposed to be cut out. Okay.
Lights and activity.
Okay, so new discovery. All right. So I'm going to pause it here for a second. So like I just said, on the 26th, the night he went missing, activity at the cemetery, the columbarium lights up, And then we have vehicles towards the end at the school and cemetery, almost one coming in, and then both two cars almost leaving, 2 minutes apart. What are the odds? But on the 25th, all I've ever seen is the Columbium light up, and then we had those vehicles in the middle of the loop. Never seen anything at the school or anything leaving at the cemetery. Well, that's about to change. So I went back because I wanted to see one of the things I've been trying to look. I've been looking at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 2 a.m., and I cannot find any vehicles entering or exiting the church, especially entering, period, on the 25th or 26th, meaning they had to have come most likely from Ward Lane, which also just adds more to, some kind of nefarious activity. Yeah, this is a little over 400 yards from the camera. And then from his actual home would be 4.5 football fields, approximately, give or take, somewhere around in there. But yes, you are correct as far as distance-wise. But, so notice it's the 25th. Notice the Columbium is lit up. Now, I'm going to fast forward. The reason I'm showing this many minutes before, this is going to be super fast forward for a minute. I want you to keep your eyes here. Notice we have our normal 3 lights, right? We have this one here. I know it's kind of like a blob here, but we have our kind of normal lights here. And anyway, you're going to notice the Columbium light up. And of course, when we're fast forwarding and we're looking so far deep, things are going to move, right? Like, the pixels are going to, because we're looking so far out and zoom so far in that these pixels are constantly moving. So it's going to make it seem like things are moving around when they're not. It's only when you find, those anomalies that only happen like once and never again. But anyway, so notice the time. And as I move forward here, our Columbium fades away. And we know we see a vehicle. Now see, it's 3:41. And I thought I had this a little bit more fast forward. But so keep your eyes here. And notice the time, 3:42. I mean on the dot at 3:45. And keep your eyes right in the middle right here. Watch what we see. Almost 3:45 on the dot. Here we are. I'll let it go right here. 10 seconds. And voila. We have an extra light right here. Moving around. You can see it kind of bobbing around. It could be stationary or maybe slightly moving. It's tough to say, because as you can see, every time it's fast forwarding, things kind of shift back and forth a little bit. But that is definitely a headlight. And it stays on. That vehicle is there for about 2 minutes. Now this is huge, huge. And I'll show you why. Just wait until you see the connection. But as you can see, I got the arrow. It's still there. Nearly 2 minutes later. This little ball of light here, and it's still there. It's most likely sitting there, and then maybe because of the headlights, but then, oh! No more light. No more light before that. No more light after that. So yeah, that was a car, and I will show an overhead view of where everything's at. But I got excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first time actually seeing something at the school on the 25th, as I explained earlier. We've only seen activity the night before he went missing at the cemetery. And then, because I was just so kind of in shock finding this, that I didn't even think about the timing of the other vehicles on the 25th. And well, let's put those together. And then you tell me if this isn't no coincidence. So, as you can see, there's the time, 3:45. Remember, let me go back just a second here. Remember, I showed you that vehicle shows up like 3:45 on the dot, like on the dot. It is there. The headlights are there. Well, there's something else going on at 3:45. And let's put those together. We have the school. There it is. And then guess what happens literally seconds later? We have the vehicle at the cemetery coming out of the middle of the loop. Two vehicles at the same time, one at the cemetery and one at the school the night before he went missing. If that is not a scout vehicle, I don't know what it is. There's no way. What are the odds? And then don't forget, at 3:47 on the 26th, we see a car at the school taking that same drive at 3:47 and 3:49. That is no coincidence. I think this was the timing. They were spotting a good time, even though they lit up the Columbrium. Yeah. That is definitely, in my opinion, confirmed scout for these vehicles. No, I don't think so. There's just no way. I mean, again, if it was one night, maybe you could say it's a random coincidence, but again, here's just showing it again. Vehicle shows up right at the dot at 3:45. And then literally at 3:45 and 20 seconds, we have our car coming out of the middle of the loop. To me, that is just absolutely huge, considering what we see on the 26th. Also, you could even say what's interesting is the Columbrium on the 25th and 26th, it gets lit up kind of at separate times. One's at 3:23 to 3:30 on the 25th. Interestingly enough, on the 26th, the night he went missing, it's lit up from 3:43 to 3:49. So almost 3:47 is about the middle part of when that thing's being lit up on the 26th. And that is when this vehicle is at the school the night before. Again, kind of scouting, maybe seeing, making sure there's nothing going on at that time of hour. In the words of Silmer, boom! Yeah. I agree. I'm in shock. This is pretty wild. And what's funny is because there's a light here already, the reason I probably didn't catch it is because I probably thought that was this light. So I've been doing different things. I'll take like the hour of footage, and then I'll speed it up sometimes to like 2 times speed. And then I'll look at certain sections, like 20-minute sections. And anyway, that's how I caught this, because one, I was looking for a vehicle to pass through this light. That was kind of my original intention, is to see if there was any vehicles entering before I touch on this. And then, yeah, as it was fast forwarding, again, sometimes when you have it normal speed, it kind of just starts to blend in. Like if I had this normal speed and if I didn't tell you guys anything, you probably wouldn't notice. And I'm sure I've looked at it, 100 times and didn't notice it. But then when you speed it up, you can see how the light is clearly moving, unnaturally to the normal street lights. If that makes sense. Right, Paperman. I agree. Again, at the very least, you could say, so let's just say, if, looking at all possibilities, if maybe he wasn't placed here in the cemetery or pond or around this area, you could say at the very least, maybe this was them transferring Sebastian to another vehicle, right? So we know they have cameras at the school and they have a couple cameras at the cemetery. So at the very least, and this is multiple cars. This is now confirmed 3 different vehicles that we know of just on the 25th. And at least 3 vehicles on the 26th. I appreciate that, Emily. Yeah, I am definitely, I am a tenacious person. Yeah, and I do feel bad for Seth. I hope this is not the outcome, but obviously, you cannot ignore, such a massive, potential lead like this, right? I would say this is the next biggest lead since we've seen the 3 a.m. as far as like physical evidence that we can see, feel, or touch, right? And I know this kind of potentially leads down a road that's not a happy ending, but if he met foul play, we want those responsible behind bars, right? We want justice for this child if something happened, bad happened to him. I pray that's not the case, but he needs justice. So here is an overlay just to show you guys where the 2 vehicles were at the same exact time. Oh, excuse me. So at 3:45, that lights up, and then 20 seconds later, this vehicle, and remember, I didn't get a chance to remember, that's the vehicle that we actually see kind of coming out, actually going east, as if it was coming out of the gravesite itself. And if you haven't seen that yet, we'll explain that in a little bit. And then turns south. So keep that in mind as well. But it's almost like that is a spotter watching them from this vantage point over there, which is, again, what are the odds you have scouts on the 25th and 26th? That just adds so much more weight to this lead. I'm not sure, Sadie, what you mean. When did we go from front AM lights to way back? Right, and I'm assuming maybe you're talking about 3 AM lights when you saw dogs. I'm not sure what you mean, Sadie. I don't know if you could be a little more specific about the dogs. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, there's funky stuff, Melissa, with this case. Nothing's gonna get to me. I'm gonna do my part. Threat me or not, I don't care. You know. I don't know if Crabtree's in on it. And that's, you have your right to your opinion, Christy. I definitely think he was taken in by the dark side, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to get too off track. I don't think he had anything to do with it, during, but I think he definitely knows information. I definitely think, I know he knows certain information, you know, about the case. Anyway, so here's this one more time, and then we'll move on. But yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of people deserve credit, and again, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys coming in, tuning in, right? So without you guys, I'm nothing. So this is, everybody plays a part. Oh, how did I see the lights in the cemetery? Yeah, I see the order you're talking about. Yeah, I went through and watched the dogs because I was curious where the dogs went. And then I started going to the nighttime footage of that same camera. And then it was the Columbrium, because the Columbrium, even when you're fully zoomed out, I played it at the beginning where I kind of start out fully back and then I zoom in. It captures your attention, even when it's fully zoomed out, because it's just, it gets so bright and it's like, wow, what the hell is that? So hopefully that answers your question, but yeah, that's kind of how it went. Just looking at that footage and then moving, progressing through the hours of footage. But yeah, it did start with watching, the dogs, because I was looking at that footage, kind of curious to see what they were doing and where they went. But it's, I kind of have an idea, obviously, but from that far away, you can barely make them out. So anyway, here's the school. I think I kind of showed this, so we'll kind of move on from this and put this together. But again, that's that same spot. Notice it does not block that light. I know we kind of talked about that earlier, but that, again, this is how I found something screaming outside. That's how I found the new footage, this new clue today. All right, so let's check out Silver's. And I know a lot of people have some questions and stuff like that. Oh, thank you. My health is doing a lot better considering where I was at almost nearly a year ago. Thank you so much, Valley Gal. So this was one of the big reveals that we were kind of holding off on, how the Columbrium, how we believe the Columbrium was lit up. So, and huge, massive.
During the control.
Huge, massive shout out to Silver's on the scene and those behind the scenes that they know who they are. Huge shout out to them as well.
Tess, Silver's on the scene and others tried many different things.
So one of the things that I didn't explain in this is this shot right here. So what we did was we had Silver's driving around in the cemetery, And this is just after it got dark, so it's only 5:30 p.m. Doesn't look like it. And then we had a group that was in the new development stationed because we can't use the same camera or have somebody in the backyard where we originally got the footage, because all these homes are now built and they block the line of sight. So we had to come up with another way. And so there's some homes and stuff. And anyway, they got set up in a particular area that overlooked. So it's the same line of sight. It's just much closer. But we still have that, again, line of sight.
To illuminate the memorial.
And so Silvers was doing a bunch of things, and they were both on walkies. And so that's so amazing that they're doing that. And it was super cold. And that's just amazing.
The same way we saw it on surveillance. But every test, including driving next to it, parking near it, using headlights and other objects such as flashlights, just would not create that same illumination effect until on day 2, Silvers on the scene did this.
Okay,
it's a great
to document
question,
where
Kat.
I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here, and
During Silver's control test, he parked on the west end, in the middle of the loop, seen here on this map. He had turned his car towards the memorial. When doing this, he figured he would try and turn on his high beams, as nothing so far had worked up to this point. Upon doing this, he illuminated the memorial just as it was seen in the surveillance. Here was his reaction.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here, and I've come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at.
And here is, there's something else after looking at this that's hit me. Because there's one thing that's bothered me, and I'll show you guys here in just a minute. And I think we may have the answer to that now because of this. But yeah, this was huge. I agree. Where were you at, Jane? And that is definitely possible. They could have maybe, if Sebastian made it home that night, they could have moved him to a vehicle and then had another vehicle either at the cemetery or school, or even, a lookout at the school and then a vehicle at the cemetery. And then, they went there in the cemetery, switched him out into another car. And then, instead of throwing evidence away in the garbage, right? Because they maybe they already knew, because they did go search the garbage, dump. Maybe they figured instead of getting rid of maybe electronic evidence or something, maybe that's what's at the cemetery is evidence that they threw away somewhere or buried it. I think that's just as plausible, and I think that's a great comment.
Boom!
This spot Silvers is sitting at is the same spot where the two vehicles seen on the 25th were exactly positioned. And what's even more crazy is the fact that one of the vehicles at 3:45 a.m. appeared to have come out of the gravesite in that same spot Silvers was parked, as if they had been backed.
We are in the works, Detective Sam. We are kind of waiting on the word back. And again, I was going to do a members live right after, but because of what I found, I need to, I have to, as soon as I'm done live, so maybe I'll have to do a members live tomorrow. Anyway, I have to get this packaged up, what I discovered today, because this is like literally the glue to everything, in my opinion. Anyway, let me back that up. I'm sorry. People are, I mean, it's great questions, and I would have the same questions for sure.
5th were exactly positioned, and what's even more crazy is the fact that one of the vehicles at 3:45 a.m. appeared to have come out of the gravesite in that same spot Silver's was parked, as if they had been backed in, then pulled out and turned south.
It didn't work out the way we wanted, Jane. It didn't quite show up on the camera that they were looking through. Believe me, I really was hoping for that. It doesn't quite, cause again, we just don't have the same environment like we did, again, the environment's changed, right? And we can't view from the original spot. And so anyway, yeah, believe me, if I had that, I would have put that in.
I see what looks like a reflector on the bench.
But here is them actually saying you can hear them, and I think Silver's put that in his video. I play a little bit. I'm not sure if I have the part where they're freaking out, but you can hear them on the walkie-talkie, literally saying like, "That's it, that's it." And again, remember, this is day 2. Silvers was driving around the night before. And then this other couple was freezing their butts off trying to, record in a different, from the other area. And then it wasn't until night 2, pretty much at the end of the control test, that Silvers did what he did. And it lined up.
Can you tell like there's a car here? Do you see headlights or no?
I can see the car.
Okay, so what I did is
Stop.
Oh.
Where the bench... Stop. Go back, inch forward. Inch forward. Stop. Okay, the bench.
So this is the part where he's near the actual Columbrium, not up on the west end of the loop. He's on the east end, the lower end.
There's like down by the bench, I'm seeing something,
and that's
but it's kind of gone away now.
There, I think that's it. I could be wrong.
Keep coming.
I turned my wheels to where I'm almost off the road.
That's so amazing that they did that.
So much easier to get that reflection coming in than it is where I'm at now. But here's what we're going to try. I'm going to go down, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to come all the way around and do what we thought earlier that I was trying to do, but it wasn't dark enough.
I think that's important. And I would try to go to, like, right as you turn to come down this way. I
don't know how much more I can zoom in. I can't blow anything up. I could blow up a headlight. It'll look very, very pixelated. Software does get better, but it's, believe me, I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I would say I'm pretty seasoned in surveillance. And yeah, we're not going to be able to see any vehicles or, we're looking nearly 5 football fields away. We're not going to be able to, see more any detail. I wish we could.
You got it. I agree.
But I know, I understand you say that with respect. I know there is some good programs out there. There is one that is literally that law enforcement uses that you can actually kind of purchase. It's super expensive. And it's made for surveillance, but it's made for certain things like license plate readers, some enhancement, but again, it's not going to be, much difference than what I could do right now with the programs that I have. But yes, I agree and disagree a little bit. Emma, thank you so much for the $20. I got a new phone, so I don't know if I get all my updates. So if you send a PayPal or Venmo, if you could let me know in chat, because I got a new phone, and I don't think I have all my notifications set up properly. And Brenda, thank you so much as well for the PayPal or Venmo. I'm not even sure what it is. But thank you guys so much. It helps out so much.
Especially when you're this close to people. Because they're just right up there somewhere. Oh, she said they were going to a party or something.
Oh, it could be connected, Michelle.
It looks like their house is dark. See?
There was definitely a weird car that followed them there. I think,
Look,
I'm not sure how much hindsight.
Every time. I can get 2 or 3 different spots where it does it.
We can see your car.
Tell her I'm waving.
He's waving.
Silvers. Oh, what did Sammy say? Send it to me? Oh, what do you...
Goats. Greatest of all.
Oh, you're talking about Green Hoodie? Yeah, if you have something, let me know. And or maybe get a hold of... Well, you could send it to me, and then I know some people that are really well-versed in the Texas Roadhouse footage and just everything that's happened around that.
This thing just drops off. It wouldn't have done that back then. It wasn't paved.
It is. It's Android, so it's for the most part, and it's the same kind of phone that I had.
So I took the turn up top, and now I've actually...
Right there's the bed.
Yeah, so this is their reaction you're hearing. I have the other clip from their point of view. Just unfortunately, where they're standing, it's kind of obscured, and I don't know if they realize that or not. But the main thing is that they were able to, we had multiple witnesses confirm, and you can hear them freaking out.
I'm send you a picture of what you just told me. I'm all over it. Here it comes.
Oh, is that answer? Oh, Craddock did?
That's it. That is the spot.
Yeah, so that's their reaction saying, you're on it.
What are you looking at?
Creekmore.
Check your cell phone. I'm sending it to you too, Aaron. We're done. So when I highlight that area, and I just said, let's try the bright lights, and as soon as I popped them on, you lost your mind. You're like, that's it. So
that's a reaction.
I think we got what we need. What do you think?
I do too.
So this is what I wanted to show you guys right here as he's coming. This is the lights that are mostly at the school, and then one's kind of on that building that if someone was at the cemetery and were to leave, they would obscure it. And you'll kind of see how the grouping of it lines up. I don't know if I do it right here or after. But it's these ones here. Now it's kind of hard because he's got a hill in front of him. But I do replay this a little bit later. So one more time, and then I'm going to show you guys one of the things that I just thought about when watching this again.
If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high
I'm
beam
not
on."
sure, Judy. That's a great
Of course, it opens
question.
up the whole area.
3:45 on the 3 a.m. Because, yeah, there is a vehicle on the 25th at 3:15 a.m. on Kellen. and then one at 3 a.m. on the 26th, and then one that's pulling in at 3:03 a.m., which I think is the one that we haven't seen yet, which is other than the silhouette, obviously.
Yeah, I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
Before we put all the pieces together, let's go over.
So now here's a little bit more of that video and putting it all together. And now, again, when I did this video, I didn't have that other piece that I discovered earlier today, which just adds, a huge piece to the puzzle, showing that there was clearly some scout at the school sitting out there. And then here, just after I play this, I'll show where we can see those lights, silvers, just before what I was talking about. You can kind of see where those grouping of lights are at. Carrie says, yeah, we have a pretty good strong contact. I mean, I don't want to say, because I have no idea what kind of connections Deception Detective has. And I guess even Lore Lodge. I'm sure they probably have some, probably some good connections. But I would say, especially for this case, I think we have the right people. Just because they have experience with this. But that's all I can say. But, it never hurts. Yeah, we just want to find Sebastian, right? It doesn't matter where it leads, and again, we try to focus on evidence, but I'm going to go full screen. I'm just going to use the restroom real quick. And then I'm going to talk about the Columbrium because I know a lot of people, we revealed that yesterday, and there's a couple of things that I want to mention about how the Columbrium lights up. There's something that's always bothered me, the way it lights up and fades out. And now I think I have the best idea, and I'm curious to see what you guys think as well. So I'm going to go full screen for 2 seconds. Just play this. I'll be right back.
Over the night of the 26th, sometime around 3:10 a.m., the suspicious flashlights in Rogers' neighborhood are seen along with an unknown vehicle doing a 3-point turn. Not long after, activity at the cemetery begins to happen, where we see the memorial light up again for 6 minutes. During this same time, we then see a vehicle at the school near the stadium, first heading north at 3:47 a.m., near the same time the memorial is just beginning to fade out, seen here in this overhead view. A few moments later, we then see that same vehicle head south at 3:49, just minutes after the memorial is no longer illuminated. Then literally 2 minutes later, we see another vehicle heading south, leaving the cemetery at 3:51. We first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m. This vehicle was seen on 2 different cameras exiting the church and cemetery. Keep in mind, this is the only time we have seen a vehicle enter or exit the church and cemetery around this time frame on 25th and 26th. Now, what are the chances that 2 different vehicles would be seen exiting the cemetery and school 2 minutes apart at around 4 a.m. in the morning the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared? So how do these puzzle pieces all fit together? First, we have to look at where the
Okay, this is perfect. Oh, it's perfect. Mob crew. Oh, and this is such a great question. Such a great question, Kat. I know it was warmer temps the night Sebastian disappeared, but would the ground be frozen recently? Basically frozen around that time? No. Not with the temperatures. I wouldn't say frozen, no, because it was 30s. Mid 30s, and there certainly wasn't snow. Obviously, we know that. So, no, I wouldn't say frozen. Maybe, I guess it depends on, I guess I'd have to ask my expert, Carolyn, who does ERI. She kind of knows what would be the, appropriate temperatures to kind of dig or, but I think at that temperature, and again, I'm not an expert in this, I think those would be, because clearly, again, I know some people are thinking, possibly a grave or something, especially if it had been freshly dug, then the dirt has already been turned, right? So really, you just pull up the sod, and then you already have fresh turned dirt. So, but I still think that's a great question. Now, this is the thing that's bugged me, is how this thing illuminates in the way it does.
So how do these puzzle pieces all fit together? First, we have to look at...
and it doesn't matter which way you look at it. Both nights, this columbrium, the way it lights up is it slowly fades in. It takes almost like 30 seconds to just under a minute to like really fully illuminate, right? And then almost the exact reverse. It's almost the same exact time in reverse as it fades out. And now I think for sure
where the suspicious vehicle.
This is a vehicle with its high beams, and it is either up on that area that Silvers was at in the middle of the loop, facing it, and it is slowly kind of creeping up over maybe the graveside a little bit. And so it's starting to illuminate it, but as it gets, inches closer, feet closer, then it fully illuminates, and then they do whatever they're doing, and then they back up, right, to where the high beams are almost as they then turn back. And that would cause it to fade in and fade out, if that makes sense in chat.
Vehicles were seen on the 25th. Just after the memorial is lit up for 6 mins, we see a vehicle leave heading south at 3:32 a.m. It's possible this vehicle was the one to use its high beams to illuminate the gravesite as it was positioned east.
So just like this, but they had already had their high beams on, and so you could say that they were kind of coming around the bend, and then they turned. And then as they're turning and then coming a little bit closer, because there's a gap. I know we see headstones here. Remember, this is nearly 2 years later. There's a couple of areas where there's some gaps, where you can go in, quite a ways. You can get into this, like, I don't know if this is first and second row here, if this is considered the third row. But you could definitely, those areas you get past the first row. That makes sense.
In the middle of the loop here, and in the process accidentally illuminate the memorial, perhaps using its lights to illuminate an area to prepare a hole or a grave.
Yeah, and there was definitely a vehicle that was taller than the other one. So almost like this, but then the car, it has its high beams on, and then it kind of turns into an opening, and then that causes that columbrium just kind of slowly light up like we see, because maybe they're taking their time inching in. And then you could say that they're reversing out the same way that they came in, and then you would have that same exact thing. Hindsight. Look at you. You are so awesome. God bless you. February 25th. Temperature reached as high as 74. Whoa. Yeah, so there you go. I thought it was like upper 30s. Maybe that was on like maybe a particular day. Wow. So yeah, that's yeah. So ground certainly wouldn't be frozen. Keep in mind, look, this is Cruminati and Crabtree, and this is on Christmas of last year. And I mean, Certainly
vehicle
not,
parks
don't see any frost or dew on the grass.
in the same area, but this time backs up into the gravesite, perhaps to haul some dirt or something else.
Everybody's looking up the
Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see two headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is two balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west.
Oh, interesting.
In an area
I didn't know
it
you could look
shouldn't
that
be,
up.
unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes.
So remember the 345 and then our new discovery. So if you missed it, let me just go back just in case, because I know we got like 200 more people in than when I released this. So just in case if you came in late, I'll just play this one more time because we're going to get into the last 30 or 40 minutes of the live here. But just in case if you missed it, 38 minutes. What I recently discovered, and this lines up with what I was just showing, is I discovered a vehicle at the school, and I'll show another reason how I can tell it's at the school, but you can see it here, and it literally lights up at 3:45. It shows itself here. And it's there for about 2 minutes, almost on the dot. And then what's wild is at that same time, this is no coincidence. Look at the time. Just 20 seconds before, this light has now been, let me go back just a little bit. Just as that car illuminates at the school, 3:45 on the dot, the night before he went missing, at the cemetery, 3:45 and 20 seconds, right here, we have that vehicle. This is just for anybody that kind of came in late. And that tells me that is, in my opinion, that is definitely a scout looking out. And the other reason why that's so big is because we see that same activity on the night he went missing. And I had never seen anything at the school until today, the night before he went missing, showing some kind of, game premeditation, again, where they digging a hole, getting it ready, a grave, were they looking at the pond, because, if you shine your headlights past that columbrium, there's the pond. Or they could have been scouting, for a handoff. And also, it doesn't even have to be Sebastian they put in a hole or grave. It could be evidence, which I think is just as likely. Maybe they made the garbage purposely on heavy. Maybe she put heavier garbage on purpose into the bin, and then trying to make them think that, there's evidence that they try to get rid of in the garbage, and then they go waste their time at the dump 2 weeks later, and they don't find anything. And really, maybe they, got rid of some kind of electronics or, whatever, at the cemetery.
But this time backs up into the gravesite, perhaps to haul some dirt or something else nefarious. Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see two headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is two balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west, in an area it shouldn't be unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes south around the loop.
Yeah.
As you can clearly see, there was at least two different...
Those, the experts, the GPR and the ERI experts, they know a lot about that stuff. And I've spoken to my ERI person, just to kind of get some ideas from her. And yeah, they know a lot about that stuff. Like, if just, it doesn't have to be a body has to be, in a grave, whatever. It just has to be, buried, right? And it would change how the vegetation above it grows. There would be signs, usually depending on if they're putting something, but usually it would change the vegetation. And it all kind of depends. It could either make the vegetation grow better, or it could make it kind of die.
You can see that 4 minutes later, another vehicle, likely a truck, was seen moving south. But what's interesting is the way the light gets distorted upwards. Here, take a closer look. Notice how the headlight ramps up behind the tree as if it was getting elevated. We believe it's possible.
Yeah, we have done that, Jane. And yes, there was a couple people buried around that time. Again, that's kind of why I addressed it in the video yesterday's, because people have already kind of noticed that and sent me emails, and they've been mentioning it in the chat for the last week and a half. So I figure, no sense of acting naive to that idea. And it's not a bad theory for sure. But yes, we have looked that up, and everything that we of course found has all that is sent over to the proper authorities.
That when exiting west
But
out
yeah,
of the
it's
gravesite,
not a
it hit this
bad
bank
theory.
next to the private drive seen here in this photo. Whatever caused this light to distort like this was caused by something extreme.
This is the other thing. Again, this is where you just kind of add everything up. This was something Silvers noticed. This bank, and again, yes, that private drive or that cement road would have been there.
The other major
still
thing
have
to
that
note
bank.
is there is no sign of any vehicles entering or by something extreme.
And
notice how
anyway.
the headlight ramps up behind the tree as if it gets south. But what's
Sorry.
interesting, get a closer look.
But that light being distorted the way it is, and again, that just shows that there's two different vehicles because of the height. But
notice how the headlight ramps up behind the tree as if it was getting elevated.
that is such an extreme, the way the light goes behind the tree and ramps up. That's very extreme. And I think I mentioned this already in the chat before, but of course, light goes behind something that far away, it's going to distort a little bit, but to see it go up at such a way that it does, to me, tells me there's some kind of like elevation, rapid elevation change as it's like going around that little window that we have.
We believe it's possible that when exiting west out of the gravesite, it hit
Yeah,
this bank
definitely
next to the
scout
private
before,
drive seen here
for
in this
sure.
photo. Whatever caused this light to distort like this was caused by something extreme.
Oh, yeah,
The
that
other
is
major
a
thing
great
to note is there is no sign of
Tessa,
any vehicles
I agree.
entering or exiting the cemetery or church
definitely agree.
on the 25th. There are only two entrances, the main one off Long Hollow Pike, and the only other one is off Ward Lane to the north, but it is fenced in and has a gate with a lock. It appears these vehicles likely entered off Ward
Funny
Lane
timing.
or somewhere off-road, like between school and cemetery. This also adds to the mounting evidence of nefarious activities.
I know people are trying to, share ideas and stuff, but again, not to get too graphic again, because my mods don't want to block anybody, or not block, or just remove a comment. Don't take that personally. We just don't want, too graphic of ideas. And I guess graphic is, everyone has a different idea on that, but I just wanted to let people in chat know, just kind of be careful about getting too descriptive. Miss Patty, thank you so much for the membership. God bless you. So, like I said, I've looked and looked. I know we've kind of touched on this before. They had to have entered, and I know that people have said that, at one point it looked like this was kind of cut down and they could go around the gate. Either way, I think these vehicles came in through Ward Lane. I'm almost 80 to 90% sure. Unless they came in through the school, but I would think I would be able to see them, in my opinion.
On the early morning of the 26th, when Sebastian Rogers allegedly went missing, you have the mysterious 3 a.m. lights going on next to his home. Then 20 minutes later, activity at the cemetery begins to happen. What are the odds of that in true crime? I believe they could have been preparing the night before of the 25th at the cemetery, perhaps getting a hole or even a fresh grave ready one night before. Then on the early morning of the 26th, the parties responsible for Roger's disappearance move him to the cemetery with things all ready from night before.
Yes,
this would make sense as to why the timeline and order of events lines up with what we've seen in this overhead view.
And again, just looking at that, and now this is what makes this even more wild, is now if you were to look, this is the 26th, but then if you did the same thing on the 25th, although you didn't have the lights, right, you would have this, and then you would have that vehicle. And look at the time, right? This is the other thing. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to mention about seeing this vehicle at 3:45 on the 25th. And anyway, I'm sorry, I got a message. But yeah, so look at the time frame, 3:40 to 3:47, right? And that starts to light up just about 3:40 on the 26th. Now, think about this. The 25th, the vehicle that I just discovered for the 25th, the night before, was at 3:45, almost right in the middle of when the Columbrium is being lit up. Is that just a strange coincidence, or is that just another piece to the puzzle that, they're out there and they see, okay, well, there's nothing going on, between, 3 a.m. and the time that we've been here, and especially 3:45, I'm at the school, I didn't see anything. And so then on day 2, or on the night he disappears, because on the 25th, the Columbrium lights up at 3:23 to about 3:30. But on the night he went missing, it lights up about 10 minutes later, which isn't much. But I just find it interesting that the window of when it starts to finish, that vehicle was at that school at 3:45 the night before. I just find that kind of interesting. So there's just so many things that you could just kind of piece together that line up with the night before and the night of. There's too much. There's way too much. And again, at the very least, if this wasn't like Sebastian being put somewhere in the cemetery pond or around that area, and this was some kind of handoff or whatever, think about how many vehicles this is that are involved, right? That they need to get the footage from not only the night he went missing, but the night before, the 25th, at the church and school. And maybe they overlooked something. Maybe they only looked at the 26th. Maybe they skimmed through the 25th. Maybe not really thinking much of it. And then, yeah, they could have overlooked a huge lead, a vehicle that was involved, but they passed it off as just maybe, a passerby, somebody that's, driving through the school at kind of a odd hour, right? So many variables, but it's just way too much to overlook.
The other disturbing thing to note is the fact that at least one person was buried at this cemetery around this particular area, shown here, sometime before Sebastian Rogers went missing. If true, this clearly shows signs of premeditation and a well thought out plan to hide evidence and/or Sebastian Rogers.
Three vehicles, at least three people.
I was able to figure out which vehicle was at the cemetery and which vehicle was at the school. I did this by noticing that one vehicle blocks a street light near the cemetery shown here, meaning it's closer at the cemetery.
Yeah.
Notice that the vehicle at the cemetery has white headlights.
That's it. So
Meaning it is further away, at school parking lot.
Oh, this is where I wanted to show.
what we need. What do you think?
And credit to Silvers. So these are the lights, and you can see them. Now, keep in mind, Silvers he's a little bit more north, right? Let me just pull up this. This was a great thing, and I wish I would have fit it in my video as well. And thanks to Silvers, in his video, he actually kind of touched on this. But, we're kind of looking at about this angle, right? Approximately. And Silvers, as he's driving, he's turned a little bit more this way. So it's going to make the lights wider. Whereas if we turn this way, it's going to group them closer together, right? That makes sense. And so here they're a little bit more spaced out. But here, I think these are some of those lights that I was talking about.
Okay, so we'll just park over here where we were parked earlier.
And you can see that this grouping of lights do kind of match up.
See you in a few.
Then just after they allegedly moved Rogers to the cemetery, we see that not only is there a vehicle at the cemetery
what time did we
leaving,
start?
but we also see a vehicle entering and exiting the school, literally 2 minutes apart from each other. I believe this car at the school could have been
no, this is
and
just
been looking out
random
for anyone walking around the stadium or school, while the other parties and vehicle are seen
music
at the
that I
cemetery,
found on
eventually leaving parallel to each other.
royalty-free music.
Before I share any more information and final theories, I just want to mention that different law enforcement agencies and the church themselves have been notified about these suspicious lights and activities and what happened at this cemetery. So
Oh, he did say something like that, didn't he, Kiki? I forgot about that. That's kind of interesting. He mentioned how many cameras at school. It's kind of weird. April, in this case, anything's possible. Anything's possible. I don't know why you would go all to that trouble, though. Like, because obviously you would have to be involved, right, if you're going to create a distraction. That'd be a lot of people just for a distraction. But again, in this case, I wouldn't. You never know.
Does it look stepped on? It's off of it.
What happened?
Oh. The fence line looks like it's pushed down. And that limb's actually like sitting on it.
I may be wrong. That limb may have Hellfire, he can lift his fat ass leg up over that. Oh no, it's a whole ass. Is that
She said it's all ass.
In a trailer being pulled behind a vehicle.
See, that's
what
what if they were sitting up here and he tracked? So, like, obviously he's got shade trees. It's a possibility. It's a good theory.
I still find this so weird that they're in this exact spot.
You're only in it for like 2 seconds. No, I'll take you out of it.
Which he did not. This still blows me away that they're up in here. But you can see the bank there. It's probably not the best. It'd probably be easier if he was standing in the gravesite looking up to see that bank. But even though that, when Silvers went the last time, it was, and in that photo has the cement, the paved road. It still has that giant bank. That's a great question, Tiny Paws. That is a great comment. Because they were, I've been meaning to snag up the footage from Mr. and Mr. E when they drive. Because here's the last thing I'll mention here, and we'll kind of wrap this up here. Is from what I understand, I can't say 100%.
Meaning Sebastian.
That's it.
Sebastian.
Oh my gosh.
Parking lot, most likely near the stadium.
Hold on.
It's also possible that this was two vehicles moving Sebastian from one vehicle to another to transport him somewhere else.
Okay, here's the other thing. So that's the school, obviously, right here, right? And that's where that vehicle now on the 25th and 26th was at. And I know, there's been some speculation that Katie, when she drove to the school, that she had likely went up around, and then, Mama Socks was over here and she met up with him. I personally think Mama Socks was there, but I think, and from what I understand, is the camera that Katie was captured on was this camera. She drove in this outlet and then did a U-turn. Now, again, I can't say 100% because I haven't seen the footage, but it comes from a pretty good source. And if that's true, especially if we can find out that's like 100% true, then just think about what are the odds? What are the odds that she is seen in the same exact spot we see the car on the 25th and the 26th, and then she shows up 3 hours later, almost wondering if they dropped something, or maybe did they tamper with the cameras and then maybe they used a device to reactivate it. I know that sounds a little more CSI-y, but, again, so many thoughts. What are the odds? I mean, holy... If that is 100% true, then if this is all just one big coincidence, then I quit true crime. I quit true crime. There's just no way. This is the biggest coincidence in true crime history. Yes, the totality of it. Yes, Kim. Yeah, this is an outlet. I think this is what you're referring to. Yeah, this is also an outlet. You can even see the arrows. But apparently she pulled in here. And again, that comes from a pretty good inside source. And there's 2 cameras. At least I know of right here. So, I don't know. That's a lot of coincidences. Yeah. No, that's too many. It's just way too many. Way too many. Does Seth know I know he's been made aware of the. I'm sure even before. I'm sure he's aware of this footage. I would be absolutely shocked if he was not made aware of this footage. Now, if anything comes from this, of course he will be the first to know. But right now we just, we have good potential evidence, but unless it's, and obviously law enforcement, and all them have this footage and what we've discovered, and then of course I need to send in what I discovered today, just to add on top of it, just to put the glue together. But yeah, but it's kind of interesting every time, just not every time, but every other live, or at least once a week, it seems like now. Just trying to go back to the footage. I can't find it. It seems I'm kind of finding something new. And so I will continue looking, because you never know. As other creators talked to church a year ago about cams, I don't know, Kiki. I do know they know now. So just for anybody that doesn't know, the church knows, of course. The pastor knows. It's like the pastor, the secretary, and the maintenance guy, the gravedigger, whatever, that are usually the people that are there commonly. Now there is a board of members. Now they have like this a say, as far as like independent things go. But about the cameras, they did save the footage and send it to law enforcement. Now, unfortunately, if you were to go and ask, hey, do you still have that footage from, the night you went missing? They don't have it anymore. Now, of course, luckily they sent what they had over to law enforcement back then, but they got a new system since Sebastian went missing. So all of their old footage has been erased. So, you couldn't have an independent person go and collect footage from there because they don't have it anymore. Just law enforcement. Oh, thank you, Caroline. Oh, and I'm so sorry to hear that. That means the world to me, Caroline. And I am so sorry, especially around this time of year. I mean, I'm not going to say that hasn't crossed our minds. I mean, when it comes to this case, that has always been a worry. What kind of connections do the stink feet and the socks have? So I definitely feel you. Miss Patty, I missed this earlier. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. God bless you. Thank you so much. And I thank you so much for becoming a member. Oh, I missed a couple. Melissa, thank you so much for the $5. She says, good to see you and the crew. Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm just going to let this play for a minute. Joel says, thank you to everyone helping find Sebastian. Well said. Yeah, because there is so many people. Daisy Duke, thank you so much for becoming a member. Ziggy, thank you so much for gifting a Mob Crew membership. And Melissa upgraded. Thank you, Melissa. That is so awesome. Tina, thank you. Hello, friends. Justice for Sebastian. We're hoping. We're doing everything we can. Thank you, Tina. All right, guys. I think we'll end it there. Okay. I may be a little bit busy, so please be patient. Because after I put out my video yesterday, I got tons of emails. And so I need to kind of go through those. I've gone through some of them. And then we'll try to get the pet pictures going as well. I was hoping to do that tonight, but obviously Sebastian, any like major Sebastian leads, that takes precedence over anything else. And so I need to kind of get this sent over. So we'll try to do like a members live tomorrow and then hopefully take care of that. Thank you so much, Joanne. I do. Happy New Year's to you. Yeah. I hope this lead goes somewhere. You know, there's so many avenues, you know, if you kind of keep an open mind, you know, this is, you know, this could lead to so many different avenues, right? You know, could he be there? Could he be around there? Or could this be, again, like I said, maybe they got rid of evidence there, right? And maybe not Sebastian's not there, but maybe potential evidence that they got rid of. Or did they hand him off? You know, and this was the handoff spot. And they were kind of, you know, scoping it out the night before, make sure no one's, you know, coming around the cemetery. And then they traded him off, you know, on the 26th. So there's so many avenues that this potential lead could lead to. So yeah, I'm sure answers to both cases. I tagged FBI when I put out my video. We are, I don't want to get too specific on what agencies have what. Maybe in a week or two, maybe I could address that a little bit more. I just trust me that, because you got to remember there's, you know, a particular agency or agencies that kind of have the lead in this, as much as we'd love for FBI to take over, right? So we're trying to do it in a way where we don't step on toes, and then, you know, and then go from there, right? So, yeah, dry run, yeah. Reddit, I don't want to get too specific, but I can tell you that place, just for anybody that's thinking about doing anything in that area, I wouldn't. There's multiple eyes on that place. Multiple eyes and other things at that cemetery. So, yeah. I wouldn't do it. I would just let law enforcement do their thing. And I know you're saying that, you know, could they go and move something? Yeah. That would be really dumb of them. But that'd make our lives easier at the same time, I guess. But yeah. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. It is being monitored in one way or another. In more ways than one, I should say. So, thank you guys so much. Thank you to my wonderful mods. Hopefully tomorrow we'll do a live. Tomorrow's the 29th. Yeah, so maybe tomorrow or Tuesday is when I'll go live next. I have to see, because I actually have to get my car registered. I have a small issue with my car. Not a major issue, just I put a new battery in and it reset all the codes, and I have to get emissions done. And when you put a new battery in, it resets everything, and you have to drive a certain amount to reset all the codes in it and stuff. And anyway, it's been a pain in the ass, and so I may have to go do some driving around tomorrow to get that thing going. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for the love and support. And I will be patient with me if you email me. Again, I'll try to get back to everybody as quick as I can. So much love. If you can, hit that like button if you haven't on the way out. Thank you to my wonderful mods, my members, my patrons, and to everybody here. God bless you guys. We will see you guys very soon. Happy holidays. God bless you guys. Oh, pet outro. Oh, and we'll try to get, again, some more pets as well. Shame on me. I almost forgot the pet outro. And I can't find the folder. There it is. Alright. See you guys.
Said that I should be. I'll get you, now you beg me please. Hey, now I stay away, you were never meant to save me. Now I stay away, I don't hear you say you're sorry. Tried for you, you won't play alone. I got you in my sight.